Hi, it's me and Sammy again, and I'm here to talk about some superfoods that have helped him to get much stronger and recover from brain atrophy. His brain shrank away from his skull, and his nervous system did not develop correctly. He is 3.5, and he can clap. He can drink out of a straw. He can do all sorts of cool stuff, which, drinking out of a straw, people don't think cool, like, hey, he's drinking out of a straw, but no, it's amazing. When your kid can't swallow and your kid can't form his lips to be able to suck, to drink out of a straw, and then he can do it, it is amazing. And I know any parents out there that have had issues with swallowing totally know where I'm coming from. It's the most horrible thing when your kid can't swallow, and so he can do that now. And so I want to talk about some of the superfoods that have helped us heal from this awful, traumatic brain atrophy and nervous system freaking failure. And it's not the superfoods you think. When you think superfood, you think kale, sweet potato, blueberries, I don't know what else, what are some other ones? Avocado. That's what you think of when you think of like healthy and, superfoods, which, yeah, they are healthy and they are great, but when your body doesn't have what it needs, you can't even get what you need from vegetables or fruits. So, especially children. So, these superfoods have helped him grow back from being a, I guess, breastfed vegan baby. Because my milk was vegan, so he only got what, my body could give, which was not a lot. So it was really not good. It was really not good, okay? And what I would actually call these feed things instead of superfoods, I would call them highly nutritious foods. Because, I don't know, superfood is just the hype, it's the fad, it's this, it's the health foods, but really when you get down and dirty with it, there's more nutritious food out there than celery and carrots and sweet potatoes and tomatoes and blueberries. And those are all great, but like I said, you can't grow a brain off that. You can't grow a nervous system off of those foods. You can't, okay? Watermelon is great, but, no. Not when you're a kid, not when you're a baby, and that's all you eat, okay? So anyway, when Sammy was at his worst, he was having seizures, like, constantly, like 15 seizures at night, like, screaming, waking up screaming, having seizures. He couldn't digest anything. Oatmeal, terrible for him, okay? He could not eat that. There's not enough nutrition in that for what he needed. He needed power food. And so while we were going through all these horrible seizures, he was having like freaking 50 seizures in one day. Like, it was really bad. And me and my mom, we went to see a doctor. Most amazing blessing in our lives. She started to tell me about highly nutritious foods and the easiest foods for a baby to digest. And those foods are bone broth, butter, soft-boiled egg yolks, liver. I was giving him raw liver. Oh, and he loved it. And he started to get better. And I couldn't give him very much because he was having seizures, and he would, like, have seizures to burp, and he was, if I would give him, like, like oatmeal or sweet potatoes or something, it was just, his digestion was so bad, and it was so horrible, and his little brain couldn't handle it, and his belly, and it was terrible. So he couldn't even open his mouth, and so I had to he could just barely open his lips and make his teeth. He would drink the egg yolk through his teeth and barely be able to swallow. But that's what he needed. He needed highly powerful, nutritious food and none of the fluff. None of it. He couldn't eat that stuff. And it was not good for him. So he started to get better. When I was able to give him just a tiny amount of food that was really, really powerful nutrition, that's when he started to get better. And so since then, I mean, we've done a lot of keto stuff. I mean, like, I took, when you cut the fat off of what's that called? The chunks of meat, stew meat. You cut the fat off and you throw it away. Well, I would cut the fat off and boil it in bone broth and blend it up and give that to him. He freaking loves it. It's so good for him. He started, he couldn't even poop. So one day I did that. I gave him the chunks of fat that were cooked in bone broth and then blended up, and he pooped. He went to sleep easy. I mean, this is just incredible stuff, and he has done so well with these highly nutritious foods and keto, which avocado is an amazing keto snack. I couldn't even give him avocado back then when he was at his worst because he couldn't digest it. But the animal fats, he butter, sardines, ghee, bacon fat, not bacon, he couldn't chew. He can kind of somewhat chew now. I still wouldn't give him bacon, but bacon fat in the eggs, in the egg yolks. Couldn't even give him the whites of the eggs. Had to be the yolks. And there's more stuff. Beef tallow. That is a highly nutritious fat. And what's really interesting is I was vegan and I was pregnant, and I started thinking, it's like, if back then, say I was taking, when I was pregnant, I wonder if it would have helped if I would have been taking flaxseed oil, like a tablespoon of flaxseed oil, omega-3s, omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed oil. Like, that's what vegans talk about, and people say this flaxseed oil is really healthy. And so I started thinking, like, hey, I wonder if I would have been taking flaxseed when I was pregnant, if things would have been different or whatever. And so I started researching the amount of vitamins and minerals in flaxseed oil compared to beef tallow. We'll just say beef tallow, because beef tallow is packed with stuff in it, actually. And so I start researching, and guess what? There is nothing in flaxseed oil. Nothing. It's empty. It's just fat. And now, when you compare that to beef tallow, it is incredible. Beef tallow has selenium, phosphorus, what else does it have in it? Vitamin D, freaking, I don't know, you should probably look it up, but it is packed to the brim with nutrition. And that's what he needed. He needed nutrition, not just straight fat. No, he needed nutrition. So anyway, he's doing really good, and you guys will never even know how bad it was unless you've gone through something like this yourself. Then I'm sure you understand everything I'm talking about and how freaking traumatizing and terrible it is when you know that you did that to your child by your lifestyle choices. The pain and the amount he can't even crawl right now. He can't even crawl. He's 3.5. Okay, so it has been an extremely long-term healing process, and I know anyone who has gone through this understands. But if you haven't, and you are vegan and you want to have kids, you better look and you better check yourself, because kids need things to grow their brains. They need more than an adult. An adult's fully developed. So, whatever, go ahead and be vegan, but eventually you'll get deficiencies too. So, but anyway, yeah, what was I saying? So, Sammy, oh, you guys will never even know what it was like for him, because I was documenting all of this, the seizures, the, just like the limpness of his body. He was a complete noodle, couldn't hold up his head, couldn't move at all. He could barely move his eyes. And so you'll never know how bad it was. You'll never know how it was for him back then, because I saved all of the files and they all got corrupted. So you'll never know. You'll never know how good it is. Or how bad it is. Well, how good it is now compared to then. But let me tell you, it is night and day. Even though he is still so far behind his age group, kids at this age can go to preschool. He is nowhere close to that. His face is not developed like a 3.5-year-old. His face is like a big baby. His feet are underdeveloped. His hands, his hips, everything. So we have to recover from all of that. It's insane. And I just, he is doing so good compared to what he was. That it's amazing to me how far we've come, and, the things that have really helped us grow this brain and heal this nervous system. Highly nutritious foods, look it up. It's amazing how good he's doing. And what else? He can swallow, he can drink out of a straw, he can roll over, he's going to crawl someday, he's going to walk, I know he is. It's just, we just got to get there. Like I said, long-term healing process. I had to move in with my mom. My entire life changed. He had a feeding tube down his nose. The doctors told me to put a permanent feeding tube inside of him, and I didn't even know I was dealing with special needs. He was normal for a while. He was normal, and then regressed. So the things were just really insanely chaotic and traumatic. So, but anyway, I know you can see him now. You can see the differences in him compared to a normally developed 3.5-year-old. It's major differences, and it's a long healing process. And the more nutrition that he can get, the better. And so check it out. Highly nutritious foods, yes for special needs. The ketogenic diet to control seizures. But let me tell you, okay, it's not all about the ketogenic diet, okay? It is not. If you're going to do the ketogenic diet for your kid, you better be doing highly nutritious oils and highly nutritious foods as well, because it doesn't always work, the ketogenic diet, to control seizures. It does not, okay? And you got to know, the only way, Sammy, stop doing that. Stop it. The only way that I was so lucky when I met this doctor and she told me about the highly nutritious foods. Stop, Sammy. No. And all right, you're gonna. Hey. Not cool. You're gonna let go. So this doctor, the first person who really helped me, she was the one who told me about highly nutritious foods and told me to look into some different stuff and read certain books. And I am so glad that I met her first before I started working with any ketogenic dietitian, because I learned about highly nutritious foods. Now, this is very important for special needs. Very, very important. So even if you're like, I'm going to do the ketogenic diet and I'm going to talk to a ketogenic dietitian and do this and do that, you need to still do highly nutritious foods. And actually, a lot of them are keto. So there you go. And the other thing is neuromovement. He has been getting neuromovement for the past probably about a year, and actually just about a year, and it has helped so much. So look into that too. But the most important thing is the highly nutritious foods. We started doing neuromovement before his brain was really ready because he was still having seizures. And when they have seizures, they it's regression. It's not good for the brain. So that's why he continuously forgot how to swallow. We would work with the speech therapist, and he would remember, and he's doing really good. Forget how to swallow again, and just repeatedly. So probably even just about the last 6 months, I haven't had to worry about him eating and drinking. He stopped having seizures in November of 2021. So almost a year ago, maybe 8 months ago or whatever. So he's not having seizures anymore, and that's because his brain runs on fat, not carbs, and he's getting really highly nutritious foods. So that's the most important thing. If you have a kid with developmental delays or seizures or brain trauma, anything like that, to really regrow the brain and to help the nervous system, you do need highly nutritious foods in their diet. So check it out. Sammy's doing super good, and thank you. Bye.